Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to start a new playlist. In this playlist we will be learning how to simulate Arduino boards using Proteus software. So without any delay, let us start the video. So first of all, we must be knowing what is a microcontroller, because all these Arduino boards have a microcontroller in their core which will control all the working of the board. So what are the components inside a microcontroller? Every microcontroller will have its own CPU. CPU means central processing unit, and most important parameters of a CPU are the number of bits and the frequency at which the CPU will work. The frequency will decide how fast the CPU is and how fast the programs will be executed in the microcontroller. Along with that, we will have a separate unit for clocks, or we can call it oscillators, separate peripherals like analog to digital converter, digital to analog converters, ports to communicate with external world like sensors, motors, LEDs and all. Definitely microcontroller or any processing unit will have its own interrupt, watchdog timers, and separate unit for timers to control the speed or control some events or to generate an event at a particular time. Along with that, they may have their own pulse width modulation unit, and of course every microcontroller will have some memory to store variables, and in general variables are stored inside the RAM. Then we will have the program memory where the user's program are stored. We will have EEPROM, electrically erasable programmable read-only memories, and power supply units which will control the power for all these peripherals, and separate unit for communication. Depending on the microcontroller, we may have SPI communication, we may have I2C, or even serial communication ports like USART or UART. So including all these components along with the CPU makes a microcontroller. The difference between a microcontroller and a microprocessor is that every microprocessor will have its own CPU, but they will not have peripherals like the one which are shown here. Other than that, microcontrollers may have more number of peripherals or different peripherals along with the CPU. So microprocessor will have a CPU only, whereas microcontroller will contain CPU and all peripherals which are shown here. So let us first understand the pin diagram of Atmega 328. Why this microcontroller? Because this is the core, or we can say this is the brain of the Arduino board. Okay, so Atmega 328 is a 28 pin microcontroller. Okay, here you can see there are 28 pins in this microcontroller, and different pins in the microcontroller can have so many different functions. We will cover these parts or these functions in the coming video lectures. So first of all, let us look into the pin diagram of the Arduino Uno board. Remember, Arduino is a board, okay, and microcontroller is here. Microcontroller, okay, is Atmega 328. Okay, remember this. Atmega 328 is the brain which actually controls the Arduino Uno board. Similarly, different microcontrollers are used in different boards of Arduino. So Arduino What is special in the Arduino? Why we cannot use the microcontroller directly? In Arduino everything is same. Only thing that they have done is they have separated all the units like power unit, analog to digital converters unit, and digital pins and all. So let us look into that one by one. So just like the microcontroller at Mega 328, here is the microcontroller. Okay, all the pins of Arduino can have different functionalities. So let us explore them one by one. Remember, almost all the pins shown here in yellow can work in digital input output mode. What does that mean? It means they can read digital inputs and they can generate digital outputs. So almost all the pins can work as a digital input or digital output. Next, you can see there are green pins A0, A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, and A4, A5 are here on the right side on the top also. These pins are used to read analog inputs. Analog inputs, when we say, all the sensors provide analog input, and to read them we will be using these pins A0 to A5. So in total there are 6 analog read pins. Okay, now on the top in the red we can see the pins which are related to power. There are 2 ground pins as shown here. Along with that there is a ground on the right side also. So in total we can have 3 ground pins. We can take 5 volt output from this pin 5V. We can take 3.3 volt output from the 3V3 pin. We can provide external voltage from a battery or any other voltage source to the V-in pin, and V-in pin can provide power to the Arduino board. Along with that we can use this power jack to provide power. And in general most of the time we'll be using the USB jack which will be connected to our computer or PC to provide power to the Arduino board. So in total there are many ways, or in total there are 3 ways generally by which we can provide power to the Arduino board. One is V-in, second is power jack, third is USB port. Now on the right side we have pins which are represented by 0, 1, 2, 3 onwards up to 13, which are representing pins numbers which are directly accessible by Arduino IDE. Arduino IDE is the software which will be used to write code for the Arduino boards. Okay, so if you have to directly point to a pin, then we can write 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 13 to directly point to these pins which are shown on the right side. And if we count from 14 to 19, then we can access these pins on the left side bottom to provide input or output to the Arduino board. So in total there are 19 pins which can be accessed directly by their number itself, and along with that if we want to read analog input we can access those pins using the name A0 to A5. So there are 6 analog read pins, and rest of the pins, 19 pins, are there which can be accessed directly by Arduino IDE. Now after that there are pins shown in the gray which are called pin change interrupts. So these pins can be used to provide or generate interrupts using the Arduino board, okay, which are not physically the interrupt pins. Okay, for physical interrupt pins, if you want to use physically provide interrupts, then in that case we will have to use these two pins INT0 and INT1 to provide interrupts on the pins 3 and 2. Okay, so INT0, INT1 are the interrupts which can be provided externally directly to the pin. Along with that, there are timer pins T0 and T1. So there are two timer pins. And then we have output compare pins here, OC1A, OC1B, OC2A for providing output compare. So these are all connected to comparators inside the microcontroller at Mega 328. Okay. So if you want to provide a clock to any external device, then you can use this pin to generate the clock which will control the external device to synchronize that device with the Arduino board. Okay, analog A in 1 and A in 0. Similarly, we can use these two pins for providing analog input 0 and 1. Okay. So in general, we can use these pins for communication purpose. For communication, we can use TXD and RXD, which are used for serial communication. Okay. And in general, we will call it UART. We will explore all these pins in the coming videos. Now, after that, like I said, there are 6 analog to digital converter pins which are available to us, which are ADC0 to ADC5. But when we are using Arduino IDE, we will be calling them A0 to A5. At the same time, we have the same ADC4 and 5 on the right topmost also. AREF is analog reference. Okay, if we want to change the reference for analog input, we can use this pin. So let us right now just look into these pins. Later, when needed, we will be exploring in more depth. If we need to generate an analog output from the microcontroller board, then we can use these pins which are represented in pink, written as PWM. And if you observe here, pin number 11, 10, 9, 6, 5, 3, or if you want to remember, then it is 3, 5, 6, except for 3, 5, 6 and 9, 10, 11. These 6 pins can be used for pulse width modulation, which actually is not a proper analog output, but it may be used to represent an analog output, which will be used to generate different frequencies, different tones at the output. At the same time, we can control the speed of motors, we can control the intensity of LEDs or lights using these pins. Okay, so remember, there are 6 digital to analog converter pins, indirectly we can say, which will generate pulse width modulation at the output, and which can be used to control the intensity of light, speed of the motors, and so on. So ADCs are analog to digital converter. PWM can be considered as a digital to analog converter. So these are the pins. Along with that, there are pins which are generally used for communication. When we have to communicate the microcontroller or the board with an external world, or we have to pass some message from one board to another board, or from one board to the internet, or maybe to any other peripheral, in that case we'll be using these pins. First of all, let us look into the left side, SDA SCL. Okay, and the same pins are available on the top right also, SDA SCL. You can see here. Okay, so these pins are generally used for I2C communication, and along with that there are pins like SCK, MISO, MOSI and SS, which are generally used for SPI communication. Along with that, TX and RX, like I said before, it is used for serial communication. So these are for I2C communication. SCK, MISO, MOSI and SS are used for SPI communication, and TX, RX are used for USART communication, or we can say serial communication. So these are the different functionalities which are embedded in the same pin. Remember, at a time we can use only one of the features of these pins. That means you can use these pins either for analog to digital, digital input or output, or analog reading, or communication, or any other purpose. But at any time one of the functions will be activated and you cannot use rest of the functionalities. So along with that, what are the other important features of this board? In general, most of the time people only talk about those pins, but they don't explore more inside the microcontroller. So remember, whenever you start studying about a microcontroller or any embedded system, the first thing that we should do is to open the data sheet, explore more about the microcontroller. So in the data, from the data sheet we can observe there are 131 powerful instructions which can control the Atmega 328. So using all these 131 instructions, we can control different functionalities of Atmega 328. There are 32 cross 8. What that does mean? It means there are 32 registers, each of 8 bit. So 8 here is representing bit, and this 32 is representing numbers. So 32 cross 8, that means 32 registers, each of 8 bit. So in total there are 32 registers which are there inside the Atmega 328 microcontroller. These registers will be used to store variables or temporarily stored numbers or variables which has to be processed at that very moment. There are, at the same time, the speed of the microcontroller can be up to 20 megahertz. So this is the maximum speed up to which the microcontroller can run. So you can connect different crystal oscillators. Okay, so we can control the speed by connecting different crystal oscillators, okay, to control the speed of the microcontrollers. But remember, 20 megahertz is the maximum speed of Atmega 328, and it can achieve up to 20 million instructions per second. So it means with each clock, this microcontroller can execute one instruction most of the time. Okay, so it can reach up to 20 million instructions per second. Okay, 20 million means 20 into 10 to the power 6 instructions per second. Okay, along with that, this microcontroller comes in 4 different variables, 4 different packages like 4, 8, 16 or 32 kilobyte of memory. Okay, so in general, most of the time you will find that 32 kilobytes of memory is available with this microcontroller. This is the size of the memory in, in which we can put our program. We cannot exceed this memory. So this is a very limited memory. So we have to be very careful when we are writing programs. It can have four different sizes of EEPROMs, electrically erasable program read only memories. And in general, most of the time we will be having 1 kilobyte of EEPROM. Similarly, four different size of RAMs are available, but most of the time you will find that these boards have 2 kilobyte of internal static RAM. Okay, and one more important parameter which we can remember is that we can read or write we can write or erase these microcontrollers for up to 10,000 times, and in the EEPROM we can write them up to 100,000 times. So these are the features which has to be kept in the mind of any programmer or designer before using the microcontroller. Along with that, if we examine the peripherals feature, then there are two 8-bit timers or counters inside the Atmega 328. Okay, so two 8-bit timer. Similarly, one 16-bit timer or counter is available. So in total, three different types of timers are there: 8-bit, two 8-bit timer, and one 16-bit timer. And it can have its own real-time counter with a separate oscillator. It has got 6 PWM channels, or we have seen before, it has got 6 PWM pins or pulse width modulation pins available with the microcontroller. There are 8 pins which are dedicated for 10-bit ADC. Remember, the ADC is of 10-bit. Okay, when we will be programming the microcontroller, these numbers will come into play, and we will have to remember what does that mean and how to use these pins intelligently. Okay, these microcontrollers are in general available in two different packages. One is DIP, which are generally long in size and which are actually soldered on the microcontroller board. But before soldering, you have to make a drill through from top to the bottom to fix those microcontrollers. Whereas TQFP, these microcontrollers don't need to be drilled. It can be directly soldered on top of the microcontroller board. So these are the two packages which are generally available for Atmega 328, and it has got 6 ADC pins. Okay, there is a separate channel for serial communication. There is a separate SPI interface which is used for communication, and similarly there is one unit which allows you to access I2C communication protocol. We have our own separate watchdog timer in the Atmega 328, which is controlled by on-chip oscillator, and there is one on-chip analog comparator which can be used to compare two different voltages. Along with that, there is a separate unit for handling interrupts and wake up times for the Atmega, which can actually save power. At the same time, interrupts will allow us to execute events which are very important at a particular time. We will explore all these features one by one in the coming videos. So even if you don't have these boards available with you, you can actually learn how to program them, how to design circuits around them, and how to simulate them, so that in future the moment you have the boards with you, you can directly make your circuits and test them in real time. So we'll be further exploring more about the microcontroller and Arduino in the coming lectures. So some of the special features of the microcontroller are listed here. We can have power on reset. That means the moment you provide the power, it automatically goes to the first reset mode and then start the execution of the program. It has got one internally well calibrated oscillator. So even if you don't connect any external oscillator, you can have its own oscillator which can run your programs. And you can have external interrupts which can execute very important events or very important programs at a very fast way. Okay, along with that, there are 6 modes in which you can make the microcontroller to sleep or to take into standby mode in case you need to save the power. Operating parameters, like we have to provide at least 1.8 volt to run the microcontroller, and along with that, maximum voltage that the microcontroller can handle is 5.5 volts. So please, it is recommended that we should use voltages between 1.8 to 5.5 volt. Please never try to exceed the 5.5 volt. The temperature range is between -40 to 85 degrees Celsius, and speed can be varied with respect to voltage. So remember, we can achieve up to 4 megahertz by using voltage 1.8 volt supply. We can achieve 10 megahertz using a voltage of 2.7 volt, and we can achieve 20 megahertz speed, maximum speed, when we apply voltage between 4.5 and 5.5 volt. So in general, the power consumption when the microcontroller is in active mode is 0.2 milliampere. And in power down mode, that means when you are in the sleep mode or idle mode or power save, power down, standby modes, in these modes we can bring down the current up to 0.1 microampere. Okay, so that means if you are designing your own sensor node using a battery or something, then in that case you can save tremendous amount of power by pushing the microcontroller into sleep mode. So please stay along with this playlist. We'll be updating this playlist in coming weeks, so that you can learn how to simulate Arduino boards and use different sensors, motors and all to simulate using Proteus. By this, you can avoid purchasing the hardware directly, and before getting into the hardware, you can learn all the basic electronics which you must be knowing before handling the hardware itself. If you have not subscribed the channel, then I would request you to please subscribe the channel. And if you have any doubts or suggestions, please put your doubts and suggestions in the comment section. Thank you and stay safe.